wanted to share a project I've been working on with you guys. You can't tell, but this is the roof of my van, my ProMaster City 2018 van that's I converted. I've had this idea for a long time, and I've been testing it out for the last couple weeks, and it couldn't be working better. You're looking at a 320 watt solar panel that is on the roof of my van. It is nearly the entire size of the roof. And while you would think that that's a lot of solar on a van and that it's going to be really visible from the outside, it actually made my van a lot more stealthier and aerodynamic, and also allowed me to do some other changes where I'm consuming less wattage to get ventilation inside the van. I'll show you some pictures that will give you an idea of what this looks like on the van and also inside the van. But really, the centerpiece of this conversation is the ventilation inside the van. I have a short video to show that. So, if this comes up. So, I have, that's actually, these are the two fans. One is a ventilator in the back here, and then I've got the fan in. This is a very cheap $20 5-volt Opolar fan that I took apart. Here you see the solar panel over the roof, and underneath I've got about 2 to 3 inches of clearance, which is more than enough. But the fans themselves create ventilation. Here, I'll let you hear the now, they're very quiet compared to what I had in here. I had a MaxxAir fan in this hole. Now, I was very happy with the MaxxAir fan. The only problem is when I put the solar panel over the roof, I couldn't get any air into the unit based on the way the fan blades, or the amount of air they were trying to suck. This is just 20 mesh, and it's about 2.5 inches to the bottom of the great ventilation. Just works great underneath the van. In fact, if I were doing this again, I think I would just have opened 2 holes like the one in the back, just the size of the blades. And I'll move to the next video so you can get an idea of what the roof looks like underneath this. Not that it matters because you can't see it. And I'll tell you, previously when I had the roof vent and the pop-up top, the lid that would pop up, it wasn't very stealth, and I think it just looked awkward to have. You could see it from sidewalk level. You could see it as I was driving that I had like a vent on my roof, an RV vent on my roof. Right now I don't. It doesn't even look like I have anything. It looks like these are the crossbars on a roof rack, and I do use this like a roof rack. In fact, the 2 points, and these are just spoilers that I kind of bolted together onto the roof. Allow me to, move lumber and 2x4s and doors and steel bars and anything I want that I don't want inside the van for transport. I've been able to put a lot of weight. I put a mattress up there if I had to. So this is what the roof looks like underneath, and this is just some loop and Velcro type loop that I use for the bug screen, which is a 20 mesh stainless steel. And this was the original hole, which I just created, custom created using aluminum angle brackets and some PVC lumber. Just created a custom lip, if you will. And no water gets in here. I know it's hard to believe because the solar panel gets to about 3 inches from the edge, and my roof is naturally sloping downward. So this is very much the highest point of the van by almost 4 inches, 3 inches. And so it would take, and water's going to flow out the sides here on these LED lights. This is about 1 inch above. Never had an issue. Right now I've got some coverage there because while I was working on this, it was raining. So this is the back vent, and all I did was bend up the metal and put this, this is kind of a, what do they call this? it's like a little plastic lip, that basically an edge protector that I bought from Amazon. And I'll tell you what, if I were doing the job again, I would build 2 of these, maybe a little bigger, because I don't ever have to worry about having to do butyl tape and screws into the roof, and then I did Externa Bond. I do want to show that. This is got butyl. It's got the aluminum angle. And I'll show it's got the I think a 3/4 by 1 inch PVC lumber, and then it's got Eterna Bond. I mean, there's no water that's going to get through that. It's screwed into the framing underneath. It's kind of, I think I see it as overkill, but it definitely is watertight. I would have just done 2 of these, but at this point, the van's all cut up, and I'm going to go with what I got. Here's a closer look at that, and what I have going on here is, I think, just 1x4s. You don't see them in here, and then some extra just pieces to elevate this just a little bit, and then an expanding foam. This is covered by the interior trim. You don't see it, but that's a side profile of what's going on inside my roof. And all of this is material that won't rot or rust. It's aluminum, and then the Externa Bond tape has some paint on it, but trust me, that is on there. And underneath you've got the butyl tape, and had to go pretty heavy to get over these ridges. I previously, for about 1.5 years, I had a Maxxair fan on here, and it never had any leak issues. The only thing is the pop-up, would extend way up here, and it was just over this ridge, so you could see it from the street. I ended up painting the bottom black because of light coming in while trying to sleep in there, and just always had this idea that a bigger solar panel over all of my ventilation could work. This is kind of a view from the front, and if you're standing in front of the van, and this is just basically aerodynamics. This is a spoiler I turned sideways, and just some rubber material that I've got taped down. It's never moved, and I've got the airflow that just comes in through here over top and then up the back. So I'm expecting to see, I haven't gotten real numbers yet, a significant improvement in miles per gallon. But also, when I used to have the vent up here at highway speeds, it would rattle, and it would I know it was obstructing airflow over my van, and it just looked like a little van with an RV vent. I never liked that look, and I always thought it was wasted space that I could use up there for wiring, and also just to get a unified kind of consistent look. So inside you've got this is the trim, and this is a $20 Ropolar Amazon fan that I took apart, and it's got a loop and hook onto the solar panel. This is the solar panel underneath, and this puts out an enormous amount of air in. And this was an initial test. And I've got, you don't see it in this picture, but there's screening that's right here. There's about 2 inches or all the way around, and I've got 20 mesh screening. This is the back, and I'm just working on some trim. This is kind of the back firewall, and I got like kind of the garage and the kitchen back there. I'm just going to put 2 little doors, and this knob, I'm going to move it to somewhere up here. I've got some other switches. I might go with ABS 1/4 inch up here, so that I can just put, you won't see this wiring, and all of this is trim. This is a 27-inch 12-volt monitor that works great. I've actually calculated out all the ventilation running, and my refrigerator, the TV, phone charging. I hook my phone up to this, and I'm able to benefit from 100 gigabytes a month of content, of internet streaming content over AT&T. Right on here, and I've got an air mouse. I have to do a separate video for that air mouse that lets me navigate my phone through this. It's just like watching cable TV. That's my MPTT controller. Works great, working great. And I'm going to talk about how much power is coming in. But basically my fan's going at blast, the TV on, the phone charging and serving as basically a cable box, my refrigerator, all of that does not put me in a negative. On a cloudy day, I get enough wattage out of my panel at 6 o'clock in the afternoon on a cloudy day to run all of this. I think I'm somewhere around 60 to 70 watts total, and that 320 watt panel easily puts that out on a cloudy late in the day, which is pretty much what I was going for, was just to have enough solar power. It's not like I'm charging a giant bank. I'm actually only using a primary battery as a starter battery. It's a whole other topic that I cover in another video. So a little messy here, but this is just some of the hardware, how it's connecting, how it's holding up that front windbreaker, which also suspends the the solar panel. A close-up look, and what you see here is the vent, the screen. It's a 20 mesh, and I've got this divider between the front and the back to keep the exhaust from being pulled in by the fan. And these are LED lights. I've got a switch on the inside. Just looking underneath it, you can see the screen is just loop and hooked to the bottom here, and I've got a little box where all my cables come into the roof. Really don't see any of that. It's all blacked out. Oh, there you see the, and I'm going to improve this a little bit, but basically keep the bugs out. And I've noticed this, and this is important to say it, most fans have the vent in front of the van, and so you're getting restricted airflow in. This is just pulling air through here, and you get the full benefit of the fan, which is much more airflow. More airflow at probably less power consumption. Just works great. And this is a $20 Opolar fan. Here's the vent, and this is a Campframo 757 I took apart, and some information on that. Yeah, those fans are not cheap, but they are incredibly good fans. The biggest flaw with them is the casing rattles because it's not bolted to the front. I took it apart, made my own suspension and casing, and what I learned is you can buy the blade and the motor for about a total of about maybe 13-14 bucks versus 58. And so I bought a bunch of them, and I've just got them there for future conversions and projects. I've got a fan in the back too, pointing out the back for the kitchen and the garage. So the rear view, and this is just a spoiler, and you just see this crossbar. You don't see my solar. The light bar I've always had there, but it kind of helps because it keeps visibility from light coming out. Someone might get curious about what's going on in there. The side view, I mean, I don't know that right off the bat, if I didn't know otherwise, that I would think that there is a solar panel here. It just looks like the crossbar on a roof rack, and when I haul lumber or whatever, I just rest from these 2 points, which are about 6 feet from the peak here to peak there, and I could run, I could carry 30 2x4s or a mattress or whatever on there. Front view, I've got that windbreaker. Rear view, I put this here because I think it would look better. It's just a rubber strip. It's actually just baseboard that I cut, rubber baseboard that's kind of screwed onto the panel, and some of the suspension. I can't zoom in much more to that, but it also keeps water from coming in through the back, which I didn't want, and just kind of keeps a little more discreet. So just wanted to share that with you because I think it's it's kind of an idea that I know people spend a lot of money on the roof vents, and they get 2 of them, and they get them with remote controls, and yeah, I mean, definitely if you've got open space above, nothing puts out more air, but also you're spending about 3 amps on each of those fans, and I am at 0.8 amps for in and out together. That's a big difference. you know, and you're, spend the whole day under the sun. By the way, one additional benefit to this is, as we look at the roof, that we don't think about is this is, blocking the sun. And so if you're under the sun, you've got this layer that's blocking the sun. I've got the sheet metal that's blocking the sun, and I've got insulation, and then I've got my trim level underneath. So I'm definitely going to benefit from less heat on the roof just from having this. There's no mechanical thing that's going to rust or jam. I just, yes, for cold weather vans, I've got 2 openings in my roof, so I've got to come up with some kind of system, maybe something simple like stuffing a pillow in there. But it's really not a cold weather van. I mean, pretty much I'm in the south and in the Gulf areas. But yeah, I think if I had to drive this up into snow, I'd have to seriously think about how to stuff those holes, or come up with something, maybe a sleeping bag. But wanted to share this with you. I know that I've not seen anything like this. I've seen some things like this, but this is something I've been thinking about doing and just wanted to share. If any questions or ideas, just comment. Thank you.